We are going to discuss about movement in and out of the cells. Now, how does movement in and out of the cells take place? There are two processes that are involved. Number one is diffusion. What the diffusion is? The net movement of molecules or ions from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration, that is down the concentration gradient. What is meant by down the concentration gradient? It means there is a level that is having the quantity of, just like if we consider a tank full of water. When we open the tap, the water flows out of the tank outside. So diffusion in daily routine can be explained by taking the example of that tank filled with water. Here is the graphical representation of the process diffusion. Now, this is the concentration of the water molecules, and these are the points or the distance that is covered by the water molecules from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. You can see a straight line or a steep here in between these 2 points. Now, greater the steep, greater will be the distance covered, or you can say greater will be the rate of diffusion. In liquids and gases, molecules possess kinetic energy. It means, why is there flow of molecules from one region to another? It's because kinetic energy is concerned with the movement of particles. When the kinetic energy in the particles is greater, the molecules will definitely move faster. When there is a higher concentration of water molecules or any other particle in any area, they will be moved from one area to another area due to possessing that sort of energy. When the molecules start moving from one point to another, similarly, the molecules from point 2 move again to point 1. And this movement continues till the number of particles on both sides becomes equal. In this way, an equilibrium is set up as they have evenly distributed. But it does not mean that they have stopped moving. Why they haven't stopped moving? It's because the kinetic energy is always there present in the molecules. So they will not stop moving. Instead, there will be same number of them everywhere. This sort of equilibrium is known as dynamic equilibrium. Now, what is the relation of this movement with the cells? Plant cells and animal cells, they both work using these processes, the diffusion and the osmosis. Movement in and out of the cells occurs by the process of diffusion. Just like an animal cell, when the roots absorb water, one cell pushes water molecules to the other cell. Using semi-permeable membrane, water from one cell moves to the other cell. This is a bit different from the diffusion. Now, in diffusion, the particles just enter the cell from higher concentration, and whenever the concentration of the particles in the cell is higher, they diffuse back into the environment. Plants also get oxygen and carbon dioxide using diffusion. Now, osmosis. The difference between diffusion and osmosis is that the movement of molecules is the same as from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. But in osmosis, the cells use semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane is a kind of membrane that allows only some particles to pass through it. As the word semi indicates, it means half. Half the particles will be moving in and out, and half will remain outside or inside the cell. This is the diagrammatic representation of osmosis. Now, here you can see there is lower concentration of solute, that is sugar, and there is higher concentration of solute. From here, the water will move to that portion. This structure is representing the semi-permeable membrane. The cell membrane in animals and plants acts as the semi-permeable membrane. Now, as there is low concentration of solute, it means sugar molecules are less in number here. So definitely water molecules will be higher in number. From this region, being higher in concentration, they will move to that region using semi-permeable membrane. Now here, you can see the water level is rising up. From here, as the water moved to that region, now there is almost similar concentration of sugar molecules as was there in this diagram. But here, water molecules has become less in concentration in this region, and the other region is having higher concentration of water molecule. How does osmosis occur in living cells? Protoplasm is the mixture of complex substances. When such cell is kept in dilute solution, it means the solution that is having more concentration of solvent, water enters the cell from outside. When water enters the cell from outside, the cell contains more quantity of water then, and in this condition, the cell bursts. When this cell is placed in a concentrated solution, it means where the quantity of solvent is less. Water will leave it and it will shrink. Depending upon the quantity of solute in solvent, there are three types of solutions: hypertonic solution, hypotonic solution, and isotonic solution. These solutions refer only to animal systems and not the plants. The solution that has more water potential in comparison with other solution, it is called hypotonic solution. It means in such solution, quantity of solute will be less. The solution with lower water potential is called hypertonic solution. It means the quantity of solute in this solution will be greater than the hypotonic solution. And the solution that has same water potential in comparison with other solution, that is called isotonic solution. Now you can see from the figure, these are the red blood cells that are kept in different solutions. This is hypotonic solutions in which in the solution outside the cells, the number of water molecules is greater. The water molecules, they enter the cell as there is no cell wall in the animal cells. So the cell membrane is unable to bear the pressure of water. And finally, the cell will burst. In isotonic solution, as the concentration of water molecules outside and inside the cells is the same, that's why if water enters the cell, the same quantity of water will leave the cell. And the cell will remain outstanding. In hypertonic solution, as there is more concentration of solute outside, so water from inside the cell will enter outside, or it will leave the cell, and eventually the cell will shrink. There is another figure explaining this process. This is hypertonic solution. This is hypertonic solution, and this is isotonic solution. Here, there is more amount of water molecules inside the cell, so water is leaving. In this solution, there is less amount of water molecules in the cell, so water is entering from outside into the cell. And here, there is balanced amount of water molecules everywhere. Thanks for listening.